Move to spare. Hold, hold. When you're ready. On you.
Ready.
Move.
Up.
Move. Go.
Up. Hawkeye's here.
Hawkeye's here. Move it to the spare.
Spare, get ready. Spare, get ready.
We ready?
Shooter's down. Shooter's down.
Are we good?
Shooter's down.
Shooter's down. Are we good to move?
Shooter's down. We're good to move.
Clear.
We're
Let's
clear.
move.
We're clear.
Let's move.
We're clear.
Come on.
Let me get my shoes. Let me get my shoes.
I got you, sir. I got you, sir.
Let me get my shoes, sir.
Hold that in your head. It's bloody.
So we gotta move to the bus. Move to the bus. Let me get my shoes.
Okay. My shoes down. Get the shoe.
Watch out.
Wait.
We wanted you to be able to see that really from start to finish to when he ends up here in the armored vehicle and is taken to, we believe, a nearby medical center. What we know right now, the Secret Service says Donald Trump is safe. NBC is reporting the gunman fired a weapon from a high point, an elevated position outside the perimeter of the rally, so outside the Secret Service security area. The shooter is dead. Also, a spectator who was attending the rally has been killed, 2 others injured. President Biden has been addressing has talked to the nation. He addressed the nation just a short time ago.
I have tried to get a hold of Donald. He's with his doctors. Apparently he's doing well. I plan on talking to him shortly, I hope, when I get back to the telephone. Look, there's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country. We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this.
And the president saying he plans to call former President Trump. President Trump, we should note, has issued a statement extending his condolences to the loved ones of the rally goer who was killed and another who was injured. He also thanked law enforcement and first responders for their quick action. His campaign says he is fine and is being checked out at a local medical facility. His son, Don Jr., weighing in, saying his dad is in great spirits. Let's go right to Richard Goldinger, the Butler County, Pennsylvania DA, who joins me on the phone. Sir, thank you for talking to us. First of all, were you at the rally this evening?
Lester, no, I was not present at the rally today. No.
All right. Can you tell us what at least the early part of the investigation has shown in terms of what we know potentially about the shooter and his motive?
Well, I don't know anything about a motive. I can tell you basically what you've already stated. We have, a spectator dead, unfortunately. We have a second spectator injured and seriously. And the shooter obviously is dead also. So, yeah, that's where we are at this point.
The Secret Service, as we see, moved in quickly but methodically as they work to protect the former president. What interaction occurs before a rally like this between local officials such as yourself and the Secret Service?
Well, I can tell you that for the last week or so, when this was first announced, that they have been talking to the Pennsylvania State Police, our local municipal officers. We have a CERT team that was activated for this event, and there was a lot of coordination to provide safety for not only the former president, but everybody that attended this event. So there was a lot of preparation put into this, obviously in a short period of time, but these people are professionals, so they know what they're doing, and they they put the proper steps into place to provide safety to everybody that was going to be there.
Mr. Goldinger, do you know, is this venue, is it a kind of a portable setup, or is it a setup that's there permanently?
No, it's a permanent setup. It's sort of like, it's called the farm show, but it's sort of like a fair. So it's a large, wide open area. There's actually an airport there also, a small airport. So, yeah, it wasn't anything that they had to come in and set things up as far as, well, we're going to have this event here. They had to set the bleachers up and everything like that. But,
yeah, and then I'm curious, are you familiar, we're now getting the reporting that the shooter fired from an elevated position. Can you, in your mind, picture what that position might have been? Is there a nearby hill?
I absolutely can. Yes, I can. And so that would have been several hundred yards away, in my mind, from where President Trump would have been speaking. And again, off-site. So,
was it a hill or just a elevated area?
No, it's all fairly flat from what I can think. But obviously, if you get on a roof, you're elevated. So, and the showgrounds where they were at is all fairly flat.
All right, Mr. Goldinger, thank you so much for coming on and speaking with us. We continue to watch these pictures again. We've played them, we know, over and over again, but I feel like you see something different. One of the things in my previous reporting with the Secret Service, you see that woman who appears to be around the president. One of the things they are trained to do is to take their hands and then work it across the person's body and find out if there are other wounds that may have not revealed themselves yet. And they certainly do that once the protectee is put into the vehicle, again, to make sure that they can get an early read on any other traumatic injuries or wounds. So we continue to learn and see different things in this video, but certainly an example of professionalism, calm thinking, and training at work here as we watch these Secret Service agents move into this coordinated action, calling out vital information in short and terse statements. Shooter is down. Are we clear? And that sort of back and forth communication. It's fascinating to watch. NBC's Dasha Burns is still outside the what was the Trump rally. She was there when the shots rang out. She and her crew, we're happy to say, are safe. But you've been talking to people who were in a traffic jam. I don't see vehicles behind you, so it looks like there's some progress, Dasha, in clearing this area.
Yeah, Lester, last time we talked, there were cars all up and down this road here trying to get out of this venue. There were thousands of cars parked all across these lawns here. Now that's cleared up, but we did speak to some of the people who have been making their way out, people who witnessed this absolute tragedy. And I want to introduce you to some folks who kindly pulled their vehicle over for us so that we could speak with them. This is Stacy and Vanessa. And as you said, Lester, the former president now posted on Truth Social describing how he was shot in his ear, grazed by a bullet in his right ear. Well, Vanessa was right there. You both were right in front of the former president when this happened. Can you describe what you witnessed?
Yes, we were 6 rows back, straight in front of him, and at his podium, we could see him really good. He was talking about his chart, and he moved his head to the right to explain where they're at in the chart. And then as he moved his head to look at the chart up on the screen, that's when he got grazed in the ear. If he had not moved his head at that nick of time, it could have been a lot worse.
So he moved his head just in the right moment to get an ear graze instead of something
worse. Yes.
And Lester, let me just explain to you briefly, because we were on the press risers as the former president was starting his speech at the rally. He was only a few minutes in. What Vanessa is referring to when she's talking about those charts, he was talking about immigration and immigration under the Biden administration. He had screens on the left and the right of him, behind him, and he was pointing to one of those screens where he had a chart that was detailing immigration rates, and he turned to point to that chart, and that is when his ear was grazed, and you've seen this on the video. But to Vanessa's point, if he hadn't made that turn to show that chart, things could have been a lot different. Vanessa, where you were when you first heard those shots ring out, what went through your mind and what happened with you and the people around you?
At first, I didn't know if they were firecrackers. There were 6 pops. It just went pop, 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 pop. And then as I was staring straight ahead, I looked across and I didn't see anything. So I looked back at President Trump, and that's when he went down. And then
what ran through your mind?
That, you know, we are all in a situation that we could be very hurt. And they're telling us to all get down, stay down. And then a lot of things went through my mind. Where's my husband? What about the 3 people that we met today beside us? Who else could be injured? You know, why did this happen at President Trump's rally? I mean, a lot of things went through my head. Are we going to be out of here safe? You know,
what are you, I mean, you are safe, thank goodness, and I'm so glad you are, and I'm so sorry that we're meeting under these circumstances. As you sit here in your car now, trying to process all of this, what are you feeling now?
I just want to go home. I just want to go home. I'm glad that President Trump is okay. I worry about the children that were at the rally and how traumatized they are after witnessing all this. The little girl that was a couple rows ahead of us, oh, she was petrified. And what's going through her mind, is she going to be okay, or is she going to have, you know, nightmares? Or, you know, I worry about children. I worry about the people that lost their loved ones today. And I most certainly worry about my President Trump.
Vanessa,
we're okay.
I'm so glad you're okay. Vanessa, Stacey, thank you so much. And please, you deserve to go home. You deserve to get some rest now. And I hope you drive safe. And thank you so much. They've been here since 7 o'clock in the morning, a long day, and certainly not the day that you were expecting. So thank you so much. And Lester, the sun is now setting here in Butler County as the tragedy of the day is just starting to dawn on all of us who were here.
All right, Dosh, I think that woman sums it up well. She just wants to go home. It's been, for all those people who were there, what a story they will tell, and what a trauma, certainly an emotional trauma, to be a part of all that. Our investigative correspondent, Tom Witter, joins us again. Tom, what more are you learning from what appears to be a pretty rapidly unfolding investigation?
I think that's well put, Lester. I think there's a lot going on behind the scenes in law enforcement as they investigate it. The FBI, the U.S. Attorney's Office locally is on top of it. We're in the process right now. We're just doing a little extra verification of video that appears to show the aftermath of the shooting and this individual who shot from, as you just heard the district attorney to you say, from several hundred yards away. It was not, if all this video syncs up and looking at the maps, it does not appear to have been head on, if you will. So our vantage point towards Trump, it would have been from off to the side to what would be towards our left looking at this shooting. That's where it appears to have occurred, but we're still waiting to get more details at this hour. As far as, you know, the president has said he was grazed by a wound. I'm looking there at both teleprompters, which would be the closest glass, and they both appear to be sound. There does not appear to be any sort of damage to them. So it does appear, at least initially, that that's the case, but we're waiting to get some additional confirmation. What will happen now, this investigation in some ways will be quick because they'll want to make sure that there's nobody else that they need to be looking for. We obviously have other people who are running for office or in office currently that they want to make sure are going to be safe or not impacted by anybody who knew this individual. But from a forensic standpoint, from other standpoints, they will slow this down. And once they search that individual's premises, they will make sure that they have a full accounting and cataloging of all the evidence. Even though the alleged shooter is believed to be deceased, they need to go through all of that. And just to take a bit of a step back here, Lester, we have been talking about for months. The FBI director has talked to you specifically about the incredible threat environment, and I don't use that word in a good way, but the incredible threat environment that is facing the United States. And at the center of that is obviously the tremendous political discord that we have, as well as foreign threats. And so when you look at this, this type of thing, unfortunately, is something that has been feared by law enforcement, that we would see some sort of political violence. And obviously, that's something that appears to have happened here today. So we're waiting to get more details. We do not have a name. That I will caution people that are, as so often happens, Lester, as you know now, people are watching us and listening to what we have to say and keeping an eye on their phones and social media. There are several names that are going around on social media that I can tell you are flat out not true. Some of those individuals have been involved in prior mass shooting events. Some of those individuals are bloggers from foreign countries who have no nexus to this whatsoever. And so there's no indication, at least at this stage, that any of the names that have been widely circulated on social media are in fact associated with this shooter. And I think it's important for people to point that out. I'm not going to mention them because for some of those people, they have nothing to do with this, and we certainly don't want to give them any notoriety for no good reason.
Yeah, important to point out. All right, Tom Winter, thank you. We'll come back to you as you continue to gather more information. I'm going to bring back Evie Pomparous, a former Secret Service agent. I don't know if you heard my interview with the district attorney a few moments ago. He was describing there's an elevated area and perhaps of several hundred yards around this site. It's been pointed out that the wound received by Mr. Trump was on his right cheek. What are you able to put together as you?
Thanks for coming, folks. I've been thoroughly briefed by all the agencies in the federal government as to the situation, based on what we know now. I have tried to get a hold of Donald. He's with his doctors. Apparently he's doing well. I plan on talking to them shortly, I hope, when I get back to the telephone. Look, there's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country. We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this. And I want to thank the Secret Service and all the agencies, including the state agencies, that have been engaged in making sure that people and we have more detail to come relative to other people maybe injured in the audience. I don't have all that detail. We'll make that available to you. I may be able to come back a little later tonight, but we'll put out a statement if I'm not able to if it's not convenient for you all. But the bottom line is that the Trump rally was a rally that he should have been able to be conducted peacefully without any problem. But the idea that there's political violence or violence in America like this is just unheard of. It's just not appropriate. And everybody must condemn it. Everybody. I'll keep you informed, and if I'm able to speak to Donald, I'll let you know that as well. But so far, it appears he's doing well, number one. Number two, that they're thoroughly investigating what happened to anyone else in the audience. We have some reports, but not final reports. And every agency in the federal government, I'm going back to my phone to speak with the federal agencies that are being put together again to give me an updated briefing. Has anything happened? They learned any more in the last couple hours. So thank you very much, and I hope I get to speak to them tonight, and I'll get back to you if I do. Okay?
Mr. President, do you think this was an assassination attempt?
I don't know enough to. I have an opinion, but I don't have any facts. So I want to make sure we have all the facts before I make any more comments. Thank you.
Are you worried, President, safety? Was the security failing, Mr. President?
Yes, look, we've got a fresh angle now of what actually transpired in those frantic seconds that there was that assassination attempt on Donald Trump. We have pictures of a reverse angle here that shows Donald Trump actually speaking at the podium, and then we see one of those Secret Service detail guards on a rooftop firing back towards that gunfire. Have a look.
And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Wow. Now, we're also just learning that the Associated Press is reporting that an AR-style rifle has now also been found at this scene. We understand it was found outside, again, the perimeter of this event today. But those pictures there, quite shocking. It shows the seconds in which the Secret Service detail who were there, and there was a huge detail, they follow a former president around, and they are stationed on those rooftops around. They have responded in seconds, guys. They're quite a remarkable angle to what has transpired.
You know, David, that's extraordinary because that's happening, reacting in milliseconds there. We'll keep a look at this vision, but just as we're talking, we're being told right now that he has definitely left the hospital as well, David.
Yes, we've just heard that in the past couple of seconds. In fact, his motorcade has been seen leaving. We assume that the former President Donald Trump is with that motorcade right now. You're looking at these pictures. They have lights and sirens going. It is the way that Donald Trump travels. He gets that privilege. He gets to ride like that in that motorcade with the Secret Service. So nothing too unusual there. But he is leaving just hours after being taken into that hospital to be checked by those medical professionals. So we've already heard from the former president. He said he's fine, but perhaps an example of that right there. He is now leaving hospital.
And sorry, David, you were saying earlier that he actually had a planned event this evening. Do we think he's going to go ahead with that? Would he do that?
Well, yeah, we're just trying to firm that up at the moment. There had been a suggestion that he had been scheduled to actually attend a UFC rally in Denver, Texas. Now, I don't know if you've seen pictures of Donald Trump actually attending these rallies before, but if there was a Venn diagram between US fans and MAGA fans, there is a huge overlap in the middle. And often when he walks into these stadiums, he gets a hero's welcome. So he had been scheduled to attend one of those. We are just trying to firm up if indeed he is now still going to attend that event. But if he did, that would be remarkable given what has happened today.
David, I just want to talk to what we're looking at the screen. I know you can see it as well. I'm amazed by this. This is an extraordinary moment because the snipers are reacting within milliseconds here. So look to Trump's down the bottom right. There's the sniper on the roof. Trump ducks. The sniper begins to fire. From this, we can deduce that the snipers have stopped that attacker shooting Trump further. The reaction is that quickly, that fast.
As you point out, it is within milliseconds. You can see that person. Well, first of all, you see Donald Trump react. He's up there. He throws his hands around his head. Something appears to be bothering him. And we now know that they are bullets. And then in the background, that Secret Service detail, I'm just looking at those images now. He reacts within seconds, as you say. They are trained to do this. The good news is they haven't been forced to actually draw on those skills in a very, very long time in American history, at least modern history. But here we see it in action. This is what these guys actually train for. And we see these guys at events, major events, all the time. And Ange, you know this from your time here as well. You go to any event. It could be a Joe Biden event. It could be a Donald Trump event. They take no chances with security. There are that detail. They are on rooftops, often around the event perimeter, particularly if it is an open air event. And we've seen it there now. They respond within seconds. An incredible effort there from the Secret Service detail. But just on that, guys, and I'll just tell you one extra thing as well that we're starting to learn, is that the head of the Secret Service is now going to be called in for Congress. Of course, there's going to be a major, there is going to be a major investigation into how this actually happened and how it was actually allowed to happen. So congressional leaders are already demanding answers.
David, let's stay in this moment though, because we're going to bring up a still image on the screen, which we've sourced from an AP photographer. Now, what's circled in red might explain what Donald Trump said in his statement about he heard whizzing. Now, that's a bullet, as best as we can make out, that's travelling to the right of screen past Donald Trump's right-hand side. We know from what he said, his first-hand account was he heard a whizzing sound, then he felt a bullet striking him at the top of the right of his ear. Now, look, we're sourcing this from an AP photographer. We'll take that as gospel at this stage, but that would be an extraordinary image, if accurate, of one of those bullets that would appear to have missed Donald Trump, or perhaps might be the one that struck him and carried on.
That is going to be photo of the century, if indeed it is a real photo at the moment. We must preface all of this by saying that the internet right now is flooded with false information, and we are trying to get those images and that information from the best sources that we can right now. But that has been attributed to a photographer at the New York Times. An incredible picture. It does appear to show that bullet. And what is quite remarkable about this is Donald Trump is now saying that that bullet has gone on to pierce his ear on the right-hand side of his face, or the right-hand part of his ear. How it has then avoided his skull is another question entirely. The logistics of that seem quite incredible at this stage, that Donald Trump has walked away from this unscathed. But that picture itself, I mean, that paints 1,000 words. The terror of that moment, that bullet whizzing towards a man who was the former president of the United States, and of course a man who wants to be again.